I hope you guys bought your earbuds today, because if my co-teacher's not there third, you guys are on your own, and fourth period, you guys are just on your own, period. Today's lesson is 4.7, Graphing Inequalities. The content objective is I will graph 4 inequalities, and the language objective is I will summarize how to graph inequalities. Now, this language objective is not something we're going to do in class, so make sure that you summarize the lesson when you're done, because chances are this could be on tomorrow's notebook check. And if it is, you're not going to have enough time to just make one up on the spot, so make sure you have that done. Okay, so before we start with graphing inequalities, here's a review, which you should copy down. This is y-intercept form. Now, I'm going to read through this. If you have to pause and copy things down, please do so. So, y-intercept form is y equals mx plus b. The m represents slope of a line, and remember, guys, slope is right over run. Now, b represents the y-intercept. A y-intercept is literally a coordinate, which is y, and then comma 0, or sorry, 0 comma y. So you have 0 first, and then whatever your number is goes here. Now, if that hasn't sunk in just yet, let's go ahead and jump into an example. And remember, you do want to have this down, so make sure you if you have to pause, pause. Now here's the warm-up. The warm-up is applying those things. So we're going to graph these two equations. So I strongly encourage you to pause the video at this point and actually try this. If you don't actually try this, chances are you're not going to remember it very well. You're not going to learn. The quiz is not going to be too good tomorrow. So make sure you guys are taking this very seriously. So to review, y-intercept 4 equals y equals mx plus b. M is your slope, b is your y-intercept. Now, these two equations are already written in that format. So let's do the first one. So if you guys remember, I usually had you guys do m is equal to, and then I had you guys do a fraction. So m is whatever is being multiplied by x, that's the 3 here. So I'm going to write down 3, and I want that to be a fraction, so I'm going to put it over 1. So I have 3, oops, let me underline that real quick. So I have 3 over 1. That's my slope. Now your b is going to be your y-intercept, which is going to be a coordinate 0, comma, whatever this number here is. Now I have minus 6, so I have minus 6 here. So here's my coordinate, here is my slope. Now I will do this one eventually, but I want to focus on the first one. So I have this, my y-intercept, and I have this as my slope. So I'm going to go to my graph now. Now I'm going to plot a point at 0, negative 6. So first of all, I want to make sure that I have these labeled. If they're not labeled, it's wrong. Lucky for you guys, yours usually comes pre-labeled. So 2, 4, 6. So here's my starting point. Here is my y-intercept. And I'm drawing this with a mouse, so it's going to look kind of funky. Apologize for that in advance. Now my slope is 3 over 1. So if I start here at the y-intercept, which again is notified as b, so I think of it as the beginning, I'm going to go up 3, so 1, 2, 3. I'm going to go over 1. I'm just going to put a dot right there and see if I can make some kind of circle looking thing. So now I have both of my coordinates. So remember, this one came from the y-intercept from this right here, 0, negative 6. And then I got the other one by going up 3 and over 1. So up 3 over 1. Now at this point you want to draw a line. Now I'm going to use my tools here, and I'm still going to miss anyway, but I'm going to try anyway. So something like that. And don't forget you want to label this. So I'm going to go ahead and label this y is equal to 3x minus 6. So that's my line that I just drew. Alright, now, if you haven't tried doing the second one, again, I strongly encourage you guys to take, your learning into your own hands. So, pause the video and actually try it out. I'm hoping you guys actually did that, but hey, I'm not there. If you're done in 5 minutes, you're going to be bored. Good luck tomorrow. Alright, so again, the number right next to, as in being multiplied by the x, is going to be your slope. So I have a negative 4 here. So I'm going to put negative 4. And again, I want to make that into a fraction, which I don't have currently. So I'm just going to go ahead and put it over 1. Okay, now b. So b is going to be whatever's being added or subtracted from x. So it's going to be 0, comma, whatever's there. Now, some of you probably remember this, and some of you maybe forgot. If there's nothing here, technically it's 0. So I'm going to go ahead and put a 0 right here. So I had nothing there, so my coordinate for my y-intercept is 0, 0. Now I'm going to go ahead and graph that as best I can. So 0, 0 is right here. And I'm going to try not to forget to label these things. Now, my slope is negative 4 over 1. So when I have negative 4, I'm not going to go up, I'm actually going to go down. So I'm going to go down 4 and over 1, which creates my coordinate here. Oh, about there. Alright, and then again, I'm going to do my line. Hopefully it's still the double arrow. And it isn't, so I'll have to change it later. Let's go ahead and try to draw them in. And 1 arrow on this side. So again, you start at the y-intercept and you go with the slope next to get the second point. Alright, and I'm going to go ahead and label this. This is y is equal to negative 4x. Now, the point of today's lesson is not this, and I've already taken about 6 minutes to do this, so this is probably going to be a two-parter, guys. So let's go ahead and try doing inequalities. Now, inequalities are going to basically be graphed almost identically to how we did these two up here, but there's going to be a slight twist. There's going to be something new you have to learn today that changes how you graph this. Alright, I'm going to do this the same way as I did the previous ones. Now, I'm not going to go through the trouble of writing down m and b, and you don't either. But m right here is negative 1 over 1, and b is 0, 4. So I'm going to start with 0, 4. So I'm going to start there, and I'm going to go up 4, and then I'm going to remember to label my axes. Now I have negative 1 over 1, so I'm going to go down 1 over 1. Now for this one, I'm going to continue using my tool here. Make sure I have the right stuff, and hopefully I don't miss this time, not that badly anyway. Now, for this one, for inequalities, you're going to really want to make sure that your line goes all the way across your graph. All the way across. Now, if I was doing an equation, I would be done right here, but I'm not. Now, I'm going to do some work here on the graph, but I recommend you guys don't do it on your graph. I'm going to recommend you guys do it on your note paper. You should be going back and forth between the two. Alright, now I've switched to a different color, hopefully. I switched the wrong thing, but... Okay, now, if you guys remember correctly, when we did our number lines, we had to draw an arrow going a certain direction. Well, we kind of have to do the same thing here, but it's a little different. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pick a point. Now, I usually start with 0, 0. I usually start with this number here, because it's really easy to work with. You know, 0 and 0, you can't find anything much easier. And here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to plug those in to here. And I'm going to check to see if it's true. If this is true, what I'm going to then do is I'm going to shade this entire thing down here, because that's going to be my answer. It's going to be this line and everything underneath it. If that doesn't work, I have to pick another point up here, and if that works, then I shade it up here. So I have 0, 0. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to start with parentheses, and again, I recommend you guys do this on the other sheet of paper and not this paper. Alright, and then I'm putting parentheses instead of my x and y values. Now, for this one here, I'm going to go ahead and plug in 0. And then this one over here, the same thing. Because I decided earlier that I was going to use my coordinate 0, 0. Now, if this is true, I will be shading this whole thing. So if this is here, it's gonna, it's not going to be seen later. Now, if you simplify this, I get 0 is less than or equal to 4. Now, this is true. Because this is true, what I then do is I shade this right here. And it doesn't have to be perfect. You don't have to fill in every single box. But you can go up to the line. You see right here where I cross the line? You can't do that. I can include the line and below the line, but I can't go past this. So any coordinate that I plug in on this line or below it would work here. Alright, now one thing I forgot to mention, when you plug the your values in for x and y, if you have a negative x, make sure you have a negative parentheses, because you don't just get rid of the negative. It doesn't go away. Alright, so let's try another one. So same thing here. My slope, I already have, it's 2 over 3. My y-intercept is 4. So I'm going to start with my y-intercept, 4. So I'm going to go here, and plot my point. Now I'm going to go up 2, I'm going to go over 3. Now this time I'm not going to use my my line thing over here. I'm just actually going to draw the line. Again, try to do the best I can. Let's see. Yeah, that's not going to get any better than that, guys. Sorry. It's really hard to draw a straight line with the mouse. And again, you kind of want to go through the whole thing. Now, I hope you guys are working with pencil, not pen, because something weird's going to happen right now. So I have my eraser, and I'm going to do this. So I don't want a solid line here. I want a dashed line. If you guys remember when we did inequalities in number lines, if we had a greater than or if we have less than, we had an open circle. Open circle means we don't include the number. So when you see a dashed line like this, which is equivalent, it means that nothing on this line works in my inequality. If I were to plug in one of these 2 points that I graphed into my inequality, it would be false. So it's same logic as the number line. Now on my previous one, I had a solid line. That's because when we had greater than or equal to, or in this case, less than or equal to, we had a closed circle, which means we include the number. So anything on this line is included. So if I plug in these 2 points into here, or anything below, I'll always get a true statement. If I plug in any points on this line, I'll get a false statement. Now I haven't tested out anything just yet, so again, I'm going to start with 0, 0. I like using that one. It's pretty easy to work with. Now, for the sake of time, I'm going to copy and paste this. Now, where I have my x and y, I'm going to replace those with parentheses. Now, I'm going to plug in 0, 0 again, because those are the points that I chose. Now, here's the thing I like working with 0, 0. Or here's one of the reasons why I like doing that. I have a fraction times 0. This goes away. It's just gone now. I don't have to worry about the fraction anymore. So now I have 0 is greater than 4. That's false. So it doesn't work. So I'm not going to shade down here. Now, I can't just assume this works, so I can't just shade up here. I have to prove it. So this is wrong, but I'm going to go ahead and leave it here. I'm going to copy it though. Now, I'm going to try another point. I'm going to try just above the line. I'm going to try this one here. Now I'm picking this one here on purpose because I still have 0 as part of my coordinate. And more importantly, it's the x value. So I can just plug in 0 here and get rid of the fraction again. I don't have to worry about that. So let me try that again. Now, I have this coordinate here, 0, 5. So I'm not going to plug in 0 here. I'm going to plug in 5 here. Now I'm still going to plug in 0 here because that's my x value. And if you guys need to see it, here's what the coordinate looks like. So that coordinate is 0, 5. This right here, this 0 went here. That's the x value. This is the y value. It went here. Now, this then changes. So I have 5 is greater than 4. Now that's true. Because I've now proven this is true, what I'm going to do is I'm going to shade this right here. Now I have 2 more problems to do, but I'm not going to do them with you. I want you guys to try them on your own. And again, notebook check, you never know what's going to appear on there, so make sure you guys take them seriously. But before I show you guys the 2 problems, I have a question here. When will you have a dashed line in y? When will you have a solid line in y? And again, it's something you should pause, think about, and formulate on your own. If you're just strictly copying from the video, you're not going to learn as much as you're not. Now the answer to these questions is with a when right here. The when is if you have greater than or if you have less than. And the why is because you don't include the numbers. Just like when we had a number line and it was open circle, we don't include those numbers, we don't include anything on the line. Now, this one here, the when is when you have greater than or equal to or less than or equal to. The why is because you include those numbers. When we had a number line,